Hey guys, MCU Collector here with the final video in the Ghostbusters Plasma series by Hasbro. So this is the Build-A-Figure or Build-A-Ghost video of VINZ CLORTHO, or easier, Terror Dog. Now, VINZ CLORTHO was the spirit name or whatever it was that possessed the Rick Moranis character Lewis. And he actually says that his name is VINZ CLORTHO. He is the Keymaster searching for the Gatekeeper, so they can let, what's her name, Gozer, through into their world. So it's interesting. The Build-A-Figure seems pretty interesting. We'll see how it is. You know, I don't really know. It looks okay. Color is probably pretty good, though. Let's start off with the head. So it's on the dumbbell type ball joint on the neck, so we get some good motion in there. Or just kind of have to kind of stuff that on there and stick it on there, and there's a lot of overlap, but I guess that's just kind of how it would be based on how you connect it. There's no way around that. Just the body of it just seems really, really weird. Let's start with these back legs, and we know that it's the back legs because there's no like shoulder type hinge. It just is going to peg and port into the back of the body, so we're going to port that in, and it goes in like so. Not a whole lot going on with it. It doesn't really, you know, make that sound that you usually get when you kind of plug in those spots. Oh, this thing is gonna be weird. I'm not liking it already. These ones, they do have articulated shoulder joints right there, the shoulder ball. So we're just gonna port that in. Port that in. Okay, so that one kind of snaps into place. So that's good. I like that. If we can get the other one. No, that one didn't really snap in. Okay, so there is the Terror Dog, VINZ CLORTHO, or, you know, Keymaster Build-A-Figure. And it's interesting what I actually kind of do like this. So when you look at it, the proportions seemed very odd, but if you watch the movie, when you see these things move around, it looks very odd because it's really spaced out. The body seems extra long. There's just some really weird things about it in the movie. So it actually comes across nicely like that in action figure form. So I do actually kind of like that. It's kind of weird because you got to move it, get these feet and everything, and the articulation in certain spots to really get it to stand up flush with all 4 feet down. But it can be done. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's take a closer look at that head sculpt. Okay, so looking at a close-up of the VINZ CLORTHO Terror Dog Build-A-Figure, you can see that his head is kind of tilted. So keeping like the neckline, you kind of see that silver shading that goes all along the back of the figure. His head is kind of at a tilt. And I think that's just because of kind of how he looks in the movie. And you can kind of get him into a laying stance. This is about as low as you're going to get him. But it looks pretty good. You know, the paint that's on here is done nicely as well. You know, we get the painted horns here, horns there, that silver shading along. The claws are all done in kind of this beige color, including these horns here on the back legs, the hind legs. You can see. Like so, just like the ones on his head, back of the feet as well. The red eyes are painted nicely. It's actually done with like a metallic red color, so that looks pretty good. The teeth are done okay. We get a little bit of pink kind of showing through on some of the teeth, but it's not terrible. The jaw is articulated, so you can open it up that much, and you can kind of see into the mouth. Sculpt-wise, it's decent when you got kind of his tongue there, and he's got this, you know, weird looking tongue. And actually, I'm looking at it, it looks like right there where it looks like a tooth, that should actually be tongue color, I think, and they just painted it like a tooth. So that's just kind of odd, and that just might be mine. You know, it could be one of those defects when they're mass producing these things. So you guys have to let me know if yours comes out looking like that. But it's decent, so not too bad. Let's zoom out and look at his articulation. Okay, so this part of the video is going to seem a little bit odd because I actually filmed the review. I did the editing of the video. I did it in 4K to see how it would come out. Editing took a lot longer. Upload took 6 hours. And then I uploaded it, and somebody had pointed out that I had the hind legs on backwards on the wrong side, which whoops, sure enough, I did. And, you know, I guess you can't really tell based on the image on the back of the package. And I didn't keep track of which leg came with which figure to be able to put it on the right side. I just did it based on how I thought a knee should bend. And I always thought, you know, that articulation was weird, but I guess that's the knee, and then this is just like a weird bend to the leg. I don't know. So I definitely had it wrong. So this is the correct way to do it, to where that hinge there actually now makes sense, and he stands up a little bit higher, I guess. It ends up working out better. So it's definitely the right way to go. So I'd like to thank the two people that pointed that out in the previous video. So this is going to be now a new video because, you know what? I make mistakes. Shit happens, but I'm glad those guys called me out on it. So I can get it updated and show you guys correctly how it goes. They had commented and they attached a picture. I think it was Sideshow, or it was a picture of a statue or something where it showed the legs were like this. So now that I see it, I pulled up the official image that Hasbro provided for the Terror Dog, and it's kind of hard to tell because the way they positioned it like this, so you don't get a clear view of the side of the leg. So it's hard to see exactly how that should be. So this is the correct way of doing it. So looking at the articulation from this point, now this hinge here actually makes a whole lot of sense to do it, because then you can kind of adjust based on how far back you want to get the leg, kind of thing. So you can really kind of have them stretched out, you know, quite a bit, and give him some definitely a lot more range of motion. So it's actually awesome. I'm really glad that these guys pointed that out and called me out on that, because it really makes a big difference actually in the Terror Dog figure. You know, I had talked about in the previous video, which you guys will now not see, I had talked about how this is definitely the best figure in the wave, because they were pretty lackluster compared to what we're used to in terms of 6-inch figures. And I know I mentioned this in all the videos. If you guys have watched it, I'm probably getting really repetitive. But these Ghostbusters look really good all together in a display. So, you know, I kind of hate how the scaling of them turned out, but I really can't be mad, because you put them all together and you know what, they actually look fantastic, you know, as a team and in its own display. It really does look good. So, you know, I really should stop the complaining, because it ends up looking really, really nice if you get it into its own little display, right? Even if you add the weird looking Gozer figure, and you can add in the Dana Barrett figure, which, I mean, it's always good to have more and more characters from a movie or whatever, but it ends up, you know, pretty nice. In this video, it's going to be kind of weird, because I'm still going to continue with the regular articulation portion. It's just you will see the incorrect hind legs, but the other things will kind of match up along with it. So sorry for all the wasted day of this video where I could have had it up, but, you know, thinking the 4K would be better, and it just being a disaster, and me just building the damn figure wrong. Oops, my bad, sorry guys, but there it is. I guess this will be kind of the new final thoughts on here. The Terror Dog's actually really good. It's even better now that those legs are in the right positions, and it's definitely something that nice to have from Hasbro. The other thing that's disappointing is that it's now only one, whereas there were two in the movie. You know, we have VINZ CLORTHO, the Keymaster, Dana Barrett, the Gatekeeper, but we have her human form. We do not have the Terror Dog form. That definitely would be nice, but it actually is an awesome Build-A-Figure, so he's definitely the #1 figure in the wave for me. If I were to rank it, I'm going to go ahead and just say Build-A-Figure #1. I don't usually include Build-A-Figures, but then in order, I would say likenesses. I'm going to go with Egon Spengler, Ray Stantz, Peter Venkman, Winston Zeddemore, Dana Barrett, and Gozer being the last one, because I just really don't like that figure. But not bad. Will we continue to see this line going forward? You know, will there be a wave 2, maybe the Ghostbusters 2 versions where they have like the dark gray suits or something, and we get Winston without the without the mustache. And funny thing is, in that movie, I swear to God, that movie came out like 5 years later, but Winston Zeddemore, Ernie Hudson looks so much younger in that movie than in the first one. It's crazy. So what will we get? Will we get animated series where we get like the real Ghostbusters with basically they could do the same figures, just different head sculpts? Who knows? Will they do the all-female cast? We don't know. Will they do figures for Afterlife? We shall see. It'll be interesting to see what Hasbro really does with it. Now, kid stuff, they can do all kinds of stuff with Ghosts and for kids in a budget line. But for the collector line, who knows what the plans are? Maybe we'll see in the future. No Comic Con to kind of give us a gauge or an idea of some things. Maybe they do a Fan First Friday for Ghostbusters. They did G.I. Joe, they did Star Wars, they did Power Rangers Lightning Collection today. Next week is going to be Marvel Legends. Will one of those end up being Ghostbusters? Who knows? But here is the Ghostbusters line. The VINZ CLORTHO Build-A-Figure, the Terror Dog, is actually a much better figure than I initially had given it credit for. So kudos to that. Thanks, guys. Okay, so VINZ CLORTHO Terror Dog Articulation. So this is going to be like my third take because I kept popping the legs off. So the front legs, you can do all kinds of things. So you get the articulated shoulders so you can get the arms or legs to go out like so. You can do a rotation in there. Careful, you might pop them out. And then we actually get articulation at the knee. So you get the bend. So you should do straight, or you could bend it like so. And then there is a swivel at that knee as well. The foot hinges down all the way like so, and then going up, it doesn't go a whole lot, but it just kind of helps get it flat. And then you do get ankle pivot in that foot as well. So that'll get it to where if you want to get him to stand up, you can do so. Then if you want him to lay down, then you would just hinge that all the way down to kind of get him into his lowest pose, like so. So a couple things you could do there. And then the neck is on a ball, so you can kind of get all kinds of motion going on in that neck. However, that neck, the way it is, it's just kind of an ugly joint. So forward on, it doesn't look so bad, but then when you kind of look at the side, you kind of see that overhang, but it's not so bad. But you can get the motion in there, and of course that articulated jaw that we had talked about. So it's decent, not that this thing moved around a whole lot. They used stop motion or claymation or something, and it just kind of ended up really looking weird on screen. You saw it jump at one point, well, both of them, the Dana Barrett one as well, so you guys might want to get two of these. But you can see that the upper half is a very wide body, which I like, because when you saw it jump like in the movie, it almost had like a frog-like look to it, right? It didn't look natural. It looked very odd, and it actually translates into figure form on how that looked. So I kind of like that, actually. Now let's see how he looks next to the rest of the figures in the wave. Okay, so here is the kind of the size comparison with all the other Ghostbusters, and you know what? He is a beast of a figure. When we look at these figures that are all just kind of tiny in scale compared to what we are used to, it's kind of nice to see something fairly large compared to these small ones. So I think the size is perfect when it comes to the rest of these figures. So when you really think about, kind of how it is, picture Gozer in between two of those Terror Dogs. The Ghostbusters, they didn't really do anything up against the dogs other than Rick Moranis running away from one and turning into one. So, but more so for like Dana Barrett, because she turns into one, right? So, she's standing on the right side of our screen, and you got Luis on the left side. And then the lightning comes down, he turns into the Terror Dog, she turns into one as well, even though, we only get one. So that's going to be the other tricky part to this, is like, okay, well, you're going to need two to really set up and have both. And they've specifically labeled this one VINZ CLORTHO, and I think for the reason they did that is because we have Dana Barrett and not the Luis figure, so they're going to name this one for the character that we didn't get. I assume. I have no idea. You guys let me know what your theories are down in the comments below, because I'm curious. But there he is. So it's cool. It's the best figure definitely out of this whole wave. Although, and I have to admit, the Ghostbusters look very good together. Minus Dana Barrett, minus Gozer, these Ghostbuster figures look awesome when they are grouped together. They really do. And then say you have it with, you know, the Terror Dog now, and with the Ghostbusters in a display, yeah, you know what? That's going to look pretty awesome, actually. I can't even get mad at that. So it really makes up for it when you have all the figures in the wave and you build VINZ CLORTHO. You know, if you want to add Dana Barrett and Gozer, sure, why not? But just all of them together, it actually does look really nice. So as much shit as I give them, kudos to Hasbro for the likenesses, because I think the head sculpts on all of these are fantastic, minus Gozer, although it's not terrible, it's just not all that great either. But for these actors, for a movie that's 36 years old, that's pretty incredible to think. You know, we have Power Rangers that are 25 years old and they can't get the likeness for some of those actors, but when you have these guys, they just absolutely knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. So it just goes to show what could be done. And I don't know if there's more budget that goes into it or how that works. I have no clue. But it'll be interesting to see if this Ghostbusters Plasma Series line will continue beyond this one wave. I'm sure they plan to give movie figures for the new movie, although I'm not sure what the original release date for that was, probably this summer. So we shall see what's going to happen. You know, we'd like to see these figures in a real Ghostbusters line, you know, the cartoon, the animated series, but in the 6-inch scale. You know, will they do the female cast? Who knows what the possibilities are. So it'll be interesting to see what Hasbro comes up with. You know, we need a Stay Puft, we need a Slimer, a Lewis figure would be nice. So we'll see what they do. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of this whole wave. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!